Hey 49ers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into our weekly San Francisco 49ers news and rumors video here on Chat Sports. Although, today, a little bit different because there's a couple of names, 3 to be exact, that are floating around that the San Francisco 49ers could potentially sign. Yes, there are still some free agents available. We'll give you those 3 names, and then later on in the video, a couple of news, couple of rumors, as we always do here at Chat Sports. Let's go ahead and jump right into number 1. John Sullivan. You're going, wait, who's John Sullivan? Okay, throw up the graphics on the board. Listen, there are questions about Weston Richburg at center because he had off-season knee surgery. And 2018, even with the knee injury, was Richburg's worst season as a pro. So I give you John Sullivan, who could be a potential for the Niners to bring in at the center position, maybe be a backup, maybe be someone to mix in there and possibly get some starts if Richburg is either not ready to go at the start of the season, which he should be, or if he struggles during the beginning of the 2019 campaign. Now again, you see your offensive line depth chart up on the screen as currently constructed. Joe Staley, Laken Tomlinson, Weston Richburg, Mike Person, and then Mike McGlinchey are all, that's what we expect the starting 5 to be. Although, here are the 3 benefits of bringing in Sullivan right now, because I know what a lot of people are thinking. What about Ben Garland? Because he's there right now. Remember, they signed him from the Falcons. Throw him up on the screen. Current backup, Ben Garland, number 1, only has 7 career starts. Okay? As you see, a little bit there at number 3, Garland has started 125 games in the National Football League. And where Garland was coming from, the St. Louis Rams who didn't want to re-sign him, they have very similar offensive line movements and the schemes that they run to the 49ers, so it could be a seamless fit here. So again, the John Sullivan name has been thrown around a little bit here. 49ers are kind of sitting there going, well, here's a potential, you could possibly see there, fans, potential of someone you could bring in at any point during training camp and then in the preseason if you don't like what you see from Richburg, especially with a knee injury, and if you're not comfortable with Ben Garland being your starting center going forward. That's number 1. Let's move on here to player number 2, who we're hearing a little bit of noise here as it begins to build. Morris Claiborne. Yes, the former Dallas Cowboy number 1 overall pick potentially could be a bolster to the secondary. We talked about him a long time ago, I think during free agency, like whenever it first started off. I remember sitting there going, hey, listen, he's still relatively young, former first-round draft pick. The Niners need help at secondary. As we all know, the 49ers ranked as the worst secondary last year. I've said that many times. Pro Football Focus rated them the worst, right? So bringing in a guy like Claiborne could make a lot of sense. So here we go again. 3 benefits for bringing in Morris Claiborne. We'll throw him up on the screen. Number 1 is Claiborne would be very cheap, right? A cheap 1-year deal. You could get him for basically nothing because, again, the fact that it's July, he's still unsigned, he's probably just going to be excited to be signed by any team right now. So that's benefit number 1. Number 2, free agent pickup Jason Verrett. He's only played in 5 games since 2016. All due to injury, right? So we all talk about how Jason Verrett could be potentially the other cornerback on the other side of Richard Sherman. But again, a guy who's only played 5 games since 2016 due to injury, that concerns me going forward. So bringing in a guy like Morris Claiborne just to add some insurance at the cornerback position could make a lot of sense. And finally, number 3, talked about him last week, is Witherspoon, right? The other cornerback who, again, regressed last year, but is young. And I think in our last video we mentioned that the 49er coaching staff likes what they see from, or have been seeing from him, especially during minicamp and all sorts of whenever the organized team activities. Now, I'll say this about Witherspoon. We hope that he should be the starting quarterback opposite of Richard Sherman. I've said that many times on this show. I think Witherspoon is going to do it. But if we get to training camp, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, we get to preseason and Witherspoon is clearly not the guy, Claiborne could be a cornerback that you could bring in to add some depth and maybe get some more competition in there. Because again, Verrett, injury trouble. Witherspoon, he had a rough last year. We've liked what we've seen in practice, but as Allen Iverson once said, practice, we're talking about games here, right? It matters inside the actual football field on Sundays going forward. So there's 2 names. Quickly though, I want to throw this up there. 49ers fans, I'm doing another mailbag video coming up soon. Haven't done it in a while, so any question you leave down below with the hashtag 49ers, I will probably, most likely, not guaranteed, but probably answer it in the 49ers mailbag videos. So be sure to scroll down and comment hashtag 49ers, and I'll answer those questions for you. You can also tweet me at Real Thomas Mott as well. Best two ways to get a hold of me in case you wanted to get your questions answered. So go ahead and pause the video or wait till the end, scroll down, and get your questions ready to go. All right, player number 3. We've talked about him a lot before, but not recently. And I will say this, it's starting to heat up a little bit because Bleacher Report released a recent article saying that the Niners should add, wait for it, you see it, Trey Boston. Yes, the safety that many of you, including myself, have been just clamoring for here in San Francisco. Alas, what would be starter Jimmy Ward, the broken collarbone, should be ready to go by week 1 because broken collarbones are not season ending, even though it sounds bad, right? But at the same time, Adrian Colbert, Tavarius Moore, those guys both have question marks up there in the secondary. The safety position is very similar to the cornerback position. You could sit there and make the argument, yeah, I like what we have right now. But you can also very easily make the same argument of, yeah, I would much rather have some depth and some security. And I would make the argument that Boston is probably the best, or would be the best safety on our roster if we went out and signed him. Remember, the stats, you see him up on the screen right now. 14 games played in 2018. Love that. 3 interceptions in 2018. Love that. 66 solo tackles in 2018. Love that as well. Again, I've tried to speculate on this show many times why the Niners have not signed Trey Boston, because he's not going to cost that much. And we have plenty of money still left over from free agency. So you sit there and it's like, well, either it's a character issue or they just feel really comfortable with Ward, Colbert, and Moore. It could be that simple, right? It could be as simple as, hey, you like these guys? We don't need to bring in another one. But I would argue, here on Chat Sports, I would not mind to bring in Trey Boston to be another body up there at the safety position. What do you guys think here? I think I know your answers, but still, let me know. Trey Boston, remember him? You guys still want him to bring him in from the safety position? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, couple of quick little news bits here. We're going to get to Marquise Goodwin had a random drug test recently, which is actually pretty funny how it all works out. So you remember how, like a little while back, I don't think we talked about it on Chat Sports, or maybe we did. There was an organization setting up an event called 40 Yards of Gold, where NFL players could go and compete in 40-yard dashes. The winner would get $1 million, right? I think everyone in San Francisco, when they found out that Marquise Goodwin was going to compete, a track star, we were like, yeah, he's probably going to win. Well, guess what? He did win, and so he's going to get $1 million in prize money. Shortly after winning, though, this past week, Goodwin posted on his Instagram that he was getting randomly drug tested after running a fast 40. It's just funny at this point because we all know that's not a random drug test. Like, the NFL definitely saw him run the 40 and went, hey, let's just make sure. But at the same time, did the NFL forget how fast this guy is? Look, I went back and found the top 5 40-yard dashes at the Combine since, 2013? You see him on the board right now. Number 5, as you see, is Marquise Goodwin with a 4.27. So right off the bat, we know he's still fast, right? And then a couple other names you might recognize. Jerome Mathis ran a 4.26. Dree Archer ran a 4.26 as well. Chris Johnson, remember CJ 2K, had the 4.24. And then last year, I guess 2 combines ago, John Ross ran that 4.22 to break all the records. So again, is any surprise he got randomly drug tested? No, because all the NFL had to do was look at the combine numbers and go, oh yeah, Marquise Goodwin's really fast. So him winning this 40 yards of gold challenge thing makes sense. No need to worry about. But it's just funny how the NFL works overall. And finally here, Kwon Alexander. Bleacher Report, again, a lot of articles here by Bleacher Report. They were mentioning, one of their lead staff writers was writing about how Kwon Alexander could be one of the riskiest moves by any team in the NFL this season, and especially by the San Francisco 49ers. Now remember, Kwon Alexander, we signed him for that 4-year, $54 million deal this offseason, gave him a ton of money based on the fact that, hey, he only played 10 games last year because of ACL injury, right? So a lot of us, I think, at the beginning were like, okay, well, he'll be healthy, he should be fine, but at least national media people are sitting there going, hey, if he doesn't turn out, 4 years, $54 million is a lot. Now, the reason they gave him that much money is because of these stats right here. Last 4 seasons, 380 tackles with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 7 sacks, 22 pass defended, and 6 interceptions. And that's just kind of, that's the stats part of it, not the actual on the field being a leader, which they've said in the locker room he is being a leader. So again, is it risky? Was it risky to sign him? Is it one of our riskiest moves this offseason? Sure, because it's one of our most expensive offseason moves. I mean, Kwon Alexander, again, 4-year, $54 million is not cheap. But at the same time, Everything that I have read has said that he will be healthy for 2019. He should be back to himself at 100%. And if he is, and we get the Kwon Alexander when he was healthy with the Bucs, this is not a risky move at all. We'll look back and think that this is easily one of the best moves in Niners offseason in probably the past couple of years overall, besides probably getting Jimmy Garoppolo. But again, we'll see how that turns out as well. All right, quick question. Are you worried about Kwon Alexander's injury history at all? Type Y for S down below, N for no. And I'll wrap up saying this. Again, 49ers mailbag coming up soon, right? We haven't done it in a while. I know you guys have a ton of burning 49ers questions, so go down below, use the hashtag 49ers, make it a good question, and I'll probably pick it and we'll talk about it in my next 49ers news, and actually my next 49ers mailbag video, which will be upcoming. So again, hashtag 49ers down below in the comments, or tweet at me at @RealThomasMott. That's the best way to get in contact, and hopefully your question will be answered in my next 49ers mailbag video. All right, that's all the time we have for in terms of news and rumors today. Be sure to subscribe to Chat Sports because plenty of more 49ers content upcoming. For Chat Sports, I'm Thomas Mott signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hey 49ers fans,